Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Be Internet Awesome webinar. Thank you for joining us live, and for those who will be watching the recording, hope you are doing well. I'm Michael, your EDU community manager, and happy to be here. Joining us today is Rob from the Be Internet Awesome team. Rob, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, it's great to be here today. My name is Rob Newton, and I lead a group at Google that focuses on kids and family products and experiences like Be Internet Awesome. So I'm gonna be here chatting with you about the program today. Michael, is that it? Should I just jump right in?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
All right, great. Well, again, super excited to be here today. Super excited to walk you through sort of what we've built and why it's so important to us. What we'll do today is obviously do quick introductions, and then we'll talk about digital environment, what's sort of happening in the world today. We'll do a program overview of what Be Internet Awesome is and does, and then at the end we will save some time for some Q&A. When we started to build this program, it was based on the fact that we know that digital literacy is important for kids in any career field. So there is no career now where we aren't using some sort of digital tool. And for the kids that are going to school today, we wanted to make sure that we equip them with the driver's license that they need in order to get started and to really build these literacy skills. When we look at the way this has grown, it's incredible. 79% of kids, and this is kids under 13, have their own smartphone, and 86% of the kids are using the internet every week. This is really the first generation that is constantly having access to the internet through a variety of different devices, and these numbers have consistently gone up every single year for the past decade. Another thing we've seen is that bullying is a really big problem. We've been battling this for decades, really, of course, before cyberbullying on the playground. But what it has done is it has pulled this into a world that parents and teachers and folks who care about kids can't see, and made that intervention really tricky, right? So before the pandemic, we took these numbers that 28% of students have experienced bullying personally, 71% have witnessed it, and 0 of these conversations are ones that teachers are invited to, we think, right? Like, teachers are never actually in the mix when this is happening. We know that these numbers certainly went up over the past year and a half, with kids having to spend so much more time online. And so this problem is one that is getting bigger and not going away, and something we feel strongly that we need to address. Educators don't feel like they have the resources to actually deal with this stuff, right? 84%, in fact, don't think that they have a good program that can help teach digital safety and citizenship when it comes to helping kids in the classroom. And so we launched Be Internet Awesome in 2017. And the idea was very simple: just help kids be safer, more confident explorers of the online world. And we took a 3-pronged approach to do that. So, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We're really proud of it. It's actually expanded beyond the United States to 30 countries. It's in 16 languages. And we're hoping to continue to expand that to eventually have essentially global availability for the program. The way that we think about this is really simple. Like, first and foremost, we have to build something for kids, right? We have to build something that will work for them. So we put a lot of time and effort into thinking about how this program can be engaging and exciting for them to take part in, even though the topic of online safety isn't generally one you'd think of as like, something kids would run around and scream about. Second, like, educators have to be involved too, because they are actually now spending the lion's share of the time with kids as they're using technology, as they're exploring with technology, as they're learning with technology. And so we had to build something that helped educators get around this problem. When you think about it, if the average family has a couple of kids, you're only worrying about 2 kids' digital citizenship and behavior. But if you're an educator, you have 30 kids in every single classroom, potentially all on their own device, trying to do things on the internet. And so you want to make sure that you equip them with a way to sort of level the playing field across that group of kids. And then, of course, parents, right? Like, anything that's taught in school, it's better when the parents are there to reinforce it. And so we know that if we're going to have educators really lean into this topic, we want parents to be educated and be able to help answer their kids' questions as well. I'm going to go ahead and try to play this video. I don't know. Actually, let me see. All right, I may not be able to get this media to play, but let me try. Okay, I'm gonna move on. We have a very nice video, but it looks like I'm having difficulty getting it to play over the StreamYard thing. So as one of the resources that we share, I will send this out afterwards. But it's a good video. It really just sort of shows the way that kids are able to interact with this in the classroom. So we'll send that out after the presentation. Okay, so diving into the different audiences that I called out. So let's talk about what we do for educators. First of all, we know that the only way that we can speak authentically as Google about these topics is actually to partner with the folks who know this stuff the best. So we've spent a lot of time with family online safety experts. I Keep Safe, Family Online Safety Institute, the Net Safety Collaborative, Connect Safely, all have contributed both to helping us frame the way that we talk about these topics, and also helped us to take these topics to market, to bring them out to the world, and to share it with their audiences who are also looking for online safety information. Of course, the other piece of it is that in working with educators, we want to make sure that it aligns with certain standards, that it is of a certain quality. So Committee with Children, ISTE, ALA, NAMLE, like all organizations that we've worked very closely with to make sure that Be Internet Awesome not just has the right educational or the right information about online safety and citizenship, but that it is also delivered in a way that is consistent with best practices in education. We have long had a curriculum, a full curriculum with topics across educational material across 5 different topics. And we just updated that curriculum. So over the last couple months, we've re-released the curriculum with 10 new activities. The other big update to the curriculum is that we also worked with the University of New Hampshire to do research so that we could definitively say, one, this is actually working in teaching kids these topics about online safety and citizenship, but two, that we could find ways to improve, that we could actually say, okay, now we know that Be Internet Awesome teaches really well in these lessons or these particular parts of our game, but not so great here, and then go back and make changes. And so that's actually what these new activities and updates to the curriculum are based on, is that research that we did with the University of New Hampshire. So in total, 11 new lessons, a refreshed design optimized for digital and distance learning, which I think was really important this year for us to sort of make it easier as we continue to see kids learning from home. We've broken them out into grades. Many educators told us that they aren't sure which grade level they should be teaching Be Internet Awesome at. And so we want to be able to break it out by grade and help track those developmental milestones that are important. Social emotional learning is also a really big topic that we wanted to delve a little bit more into. We have our It's Cool to Be Kind section, which talks about how it's much better to be an upstander than a bystander when it comes to cyberbullying, and really just gives you general tips about how to be kind online as opposed to taking the less savory route. But we wanted to go a little bit more deeply into social emotional learning because we know that that's so important for kids at this age. So that is in there. 2 new gaming-based activities, not within our game to say, but 2 activities based on online gaming, because we wanted to make sure that kids understand how to behave in that environment that so many of them participate in. And then finally, 2 new media literacy lessons. We had a bunch of them that we launched in 2019 as well, but we wanted to continue to add to those as the media landscape is shifting to make sure we stay on top of those topics. And then, like I mentioned, we have a set of evidence-based lessons and activities designed with experts and research professionals. So we've been working with the Net Safety Collaborative and Ann Collier for many years to help us understand the topics that we want to cover in online safety and citizenship. The Committee for Children organization, which is the group I mentioned out of the University of New Hampshire, are the ones that helped us conduct this research and make sure that we truly could say that, one, that Be Internet Awesome is making a positive impact in the outcomes of kids' behaviors online, but 2, that it could help us improve the lessons as well. And so you'll see multiple updates across all of our different topics here. Really quick, diving into the fundamental lessons. So the first one that we have in the program is called Share with Care. And this is based on the premise that like we really need kids to understand that they have a digital footprint and that digital footprint completely shapes their online reputation and the way that they're perceived. So they need to make sure that they're careful with that information. They need to make sure that the information that they share is appropriate, the appropriate level of information and with the right people. We also want to make sure that kids understand when things online are trying to trick them, right? There's so many scams floating around. There's a new one every day that they go all the way back to us receiving emails about wiring money to someone's account in another country. But today there are multiple scams with heightened levels of creativity and convincibility. And so those are the types of things that we want to make sure kids understand and that kids are able to avoid. The kids are also susceptible to some of these things that maybe we would know intuitively are not true. Statements about getting something for free or winning, thinking about how we can make sure that not only do we equip the kids with the information that they need to know that these things are not real, but that we continue to update that as those scams become more and more plausible. Secure your secrets. This is a really straightforward lesson, but it's all about passwords, right? We enter a password on almost every site across the web, at least the ones that include any information about us. And so this is something that we need to be super vigilant about protecting. And so secure your secrets, be internet strong, teaches kids about making strong passwords and how to make sure you can protect your footprint. It's cool to be kind. This is probably the lesson that gets the most attention. It's actually the game, the land here gets the most traffic on the website as well, in terms of the game that where we teach kids how to be cool or how to be kind online. It really just goes around the concept that the power of positivity is much more powerful than the power of negativity, right? And that there not only are ways that you can be an upstander, that you can be a positive contributor online, but also that there's tools on the internet to make sure that you don't actually have to take this behavior. So if someone is bullying you, you can block them. You can I think that you can always report these things in certain ways. And so teaching kids not only about the way that it's best to behave online, but also the tools that they can use to avoid being bullied is really critical to this lesson. And then this lesson, when in doubt, talk it out, is kind of the ethos that we have across Google for everything that we build for families. And that is to say that all of this material is really great, but none of the things that we're teaching or doing here is meant to replace conversations. And all of this stuff is only going to sink in and be critically valuable if those conversations continue to occur with trusted adults, teachers, and parents. And so, as kids are exploring online, there's going to be things they find that we don't cover in this curriculum, of course. There's going to be new things every day. And developing that relationship with someone where when you're in doubt, you can just talk it out with a trusted adult is really important. Whether it's finding unsafe content, having, maybe mean interactions with someone online. These are the things that we want to make sure kids feel comfortable speaking to someone about when they happen in their lives. One thing that we want to get across is that, these insights that we've gotten from teachers has actually been super critical in creating these resources, because at the end of the day, we do spend a lot of time at conferences. We do spend a lot of time meeting with teachers and educators who use the program. And so, we wanted to develop a couple more things that make sense for educators. One is Pear Deck slides. Pear Deck is a great partner. They actually reached out to us and said, we'd really love to work with you to develop first-class slides that teachers can use to teach the Internet Awesome curriculum. And you can find those on our website. The great thing about those, of course, is that they create an interaction model with the students so that they can, answer questions, and, there can be activities that they're doing digitally, but they can walk through the program in a more engaging way. And then we've also created a bunch of training materials, onboarding materials. So We've delivered some webinars, but we'll continue to do that to make sure that we can share how do you use these slides, how do you assign interland in classroom, and then how do we get kids to actually use the game in such a way where they're not just kind of running through it, they're learning about it, and then how to use the curriculum, how to go through the curriculum that we put together, and what's the best way for educators to use that. We've got a bunch of other resources as well. We've got printable activities. This is great for the younger kids, particularly if you're trying to teach these concepts to kids who are just first getting to be part of, the online world, just first sort of starting to explore it with technology more regularly. So those printable activities have been a real popular set of resources amongst that group. And then we wanted to put all the media literacy stuff in one place. I think as we see, the changing media landscape where it's becoming harder and harder to know what's news, what's entertainment, what's real and what's fake, as we say in the lessons. We wanted to put all the media literacy stuff in one place, and so you can find that on the website as well. And then we've got more resources to sort of celebrate the usage of this, right? We found that anecdotally, and also, as we do teacher surveys around the country, people are actually excited about this program. The kids get excited. They want to tell their parents about it. Many of my coworkers have actually told me that their kids have come home and they've mentioned the program and they're like, oh, I know the guy who makes that or who works on that. And so I think that we've seen a lot of positive excitement. And so we want to have both physical stuff that teachers can put up in the classroom, kind of, in the way that, you can imagine seeing it in an elementary school classroom, and sort of reminding kids like of all the different concepts that we teach, but also creating digital badges, right? To really give kids this sense of achievement, to show that they have, that they have achieved sort of a level of mastery over the internet, that we can then, reward them with something that makes them feel like they have truly achieved the title of being internet awesome. All right, let's talk about kids. So kids really have this amazing resource. It's kind of the crown jewel of the program. It's called Interland. And Interland is this engaging game that, if I'm being honest, I thought was a crazy idea when we first concepted it at Google, but it's ended up being incredibly popular. Kids really do have a good time playing it, and it is helping them really understand and learn these concepts, to be able to sort of say the things that the right things, and to know the right things to do when they're put in these situations. Some of the cool things about the program: it's no login required. So this is not tied to any sort of account-based thing. You can navigate to the website from any device. You don't have to download anything. It's not an app. You could, as long as you have an internet connection and a screen, this is something that you can use. We've put quizzes at the end of each land. So to add to sort of the learning quality of this, after kids go through the fun game, they're then put through like a quick quiz, which just tests the information and the knowledge that they've learned over the from using the game. It's primarily great for reinforcing the lessons that are taught in the curriculum, right? It's something to take home, something to give kids as like a homework assignment, something to use for the last 10 minutes of the conversation and sort of reinforce the topics that we've been talking about. But it's a really fun resource. I'd encourage folks to take a look at it. I actually still end up getting sort of caught in a 15-minute rat hole playing the game whenever I go to the website. So there's Reality River. This teaches kids how to spot phishing and scams and anything that's fake online. So kids try to cross this river by answering questions in the right way. There's Mindful Mountain. This helps kids understand who you should share certain things with. So whether it's a parent's credit card information, hint, no one, or maybe a picture of you and your friends over the weekend having fun. It walks you through like which folks are the best to share different things with, and then gives you this fun game so that you only share with them based on these mirrors and this laser that you fire for your outgoing share. Tower of Treasure is one of our most popular games. It helps kids understand what types of information they need to protect and how they can do that by making a really strong password. So kind of a running game where you're sort of scrolling through and collecting things, and then at the end the kids are taught how to make really good strong passwords. Kind Kingdom, also a big favorite, probably the most trafficked page of the website. this teaches you about how when you see someone who's upset, that there's a way that you can actually make them feel really great by spreading positivity, and that there's such a great impact to spreading positivity, while also talking about the tools that help kids block and get and report those who are maybe doing the wrong thing online. And then we have these certificates. So you can create a certificate at the end of each lesson. We actually let you autofill your name into it, and then if you want to print it, you can actually write your name and the signature of your teacher. But you're able to print these certificates and sort of give the kids that feeling that they have really made an achievement as they get through each of the lands. All right, let's talk about parents. So for parents, we've been trying to build more and more resources to make this content more accessible to them. We knew that they wouldn't take the curriculum and walk through it with the kids. That's an unrealistic expectation. So we created a slightly abridged guide, a family guide that aligns with the curriculum, has a lot of the same information, but breaks it down a little bit more simply so that parents aren't going through a full set of curricular activities. Even more broken down, we ended up breaking it up into the 5 different lessons and then having helpful tips. Just if you need to know 5 things, these are the 5 things need to know about being internet smart, right? Same for alert, strong, kind, and brave. And for this, we just wanted to make sure that, for the parents that, don't have the time or just aren't, maybe able to engage super deeply with their kids, they have a top line piece of information that's important. And then there's the pledge. The pledge is it's not for everyone, but we use it as sort of a cool way to say, okay, this is a set of things that you've learned. We wanted to make sure that you and your parents agree that this is the way that we feel it's appropriate for you to act online. And then with the pledge, you're able to fill that out, sign it, and then maybe put it up on the fridge. All right, so that is the presentation for today. I would love to go ahead and stop presenting and take questions as they come. And let me actually jump in so I can see the questions that have come through already. All right, I'll go ahead and just jump into the comments and see if there's any questions in here. Okay, I see a great question about tracking effectiveness of Be Internet Awesome, and so that is one of the things that we've tried to add this time with the grade level stuff, and then sort of the stuff that will help us sort of like get a gauge for what kids how much kids have learned. So that is in the new curriculum, or I'm sorry, set of resources. I'll make sure to link directly to that in the stuff that we send out at the end of the presentation. And let's see. I see a question on grade level. I think we answered that in the middle. Is there a high school level? Great question. So we have worked with some folks on our Italy team, and they have developed an initial one of these that is for 13 plus. We do not currently have a Be Internet Awesome program for kids that are over 13. However, another thing that I will send is we worked with our applied digital skills team. They have a set of lessons that are more for the middle school and high school range around digital citizenship and safety. And so let me add that to the list of resources that we send around as well. Are there other questions that folks want to post or possibly repost in the chat if I miss them? Thanks, Hillary. Reshma, I do see a question from you about hold on, subject-specific lessons. So do you mean like school subject like math, English, history, or just curious if maybe you could clarify your question if you wanted to ask it again. Great question, Anderson. Are you planning on offering certificates specifically for teachers? We currently do not have a program for certifications. I've worked really closely with our Google for Education team, and I think that this was something that we determined we did not, obviously a certificate is actually, I say certificates when I talk about the ones that we give to kids, but it's actually obviously a much more serious thing in the education world. And we do not currently have plans to offer offer that in the presently. So yeah, let me drop that in the chat. Thank you. Sylvia asked if I could drop a link. So all of the resources that that we talked about today are now on the website. Oh boy, I'm actually having trouble figuring out where I drop things into the chat. There we go. Michael, do you know if that's there we go. Thank you so much. That's that just took a sec to propagate. So g.co/beinternetawesome is our vanity URL. The full URL is something a little bit ridiculous, like beinternetawesome.withgoogle.com. So so that's an easier one for folks to remember. And that's really where you can find everything. If you want a shortcut to Interland, you can also go g.co/Interland, and that will take you directly to the game as well. If you're actually assigning this or you want to share certain lands with kids, you can also, if you're in Interland and you hover over like that land before entering it, you can send that to the kids. I believe they're it's there will be like a / and then the name of the land as well. But you can send direct links to each land as well. Are there other questions that I can answer?
I think we'll give them one more minute to answer questions.
Sounds good.
And Rob, thank you so much for making the time for awesome educators. My question is for the presentation deck that you had today. When can they expect it to be shared?
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to clean up in there, so I can probably share that back with you by end of day today, and then get it PDF'd, and then we should be able to get it out very soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. In the future, question coming in the future, will it have like profile badges for our student that achieved the level? I think you mean like, will we be able to do like a picture, badge or something with that certificate? So one of the things that we, I don't want to say we struggle with, but one of the things that's important to us is that in making something for kids like this, that we are actually adhering to all of the things that we are trying to teach them. So a lot of that means that we don't want to collect any personal information about them, even if it's as simple as like, let you take a photo and then put it on a badge, because we don't want to do that. Like, we want this to be completely agnostic of, their Google account, all the things that they like. This is really a program that we want to sort of live separately from that. So that has actually caused, because of that, it's made, it makes it challenging for us to do something that would be where we would say capture a photo, because that's capturing personal information that we're deliberately teaching kids to be very careful about sharing, right? So we don't have a plan to do that in the short term, but it is, I think there are some merits to it, and it's a good idea. Yes. So there is, if you're on the website and you're on the educator resources page, there is a button for assign in classroom. And sorry, Reshma asked if you're able to assign this in classroom, in case folks aren't tracking the comments.
Okay, so we'll take one more question.
And maybe while we're waiting for it, just wanted to say thank you guys again. I think one thing that maybe doesn't come across when we present this stuff sometimes is that the millions of kids that are getting this education we see it I probably can't share hard numbers, but we see 5x traffic during the weekdays, and weekend traffic is only 20% of what we see during those weekdays. And so it is clearly and 100% the success that it is because teachers and educators are driving that every single day. So I just I have the chance, I want to say thank you.
All right, so looks like we don't have any other questions. Thank you so much for everyone who attended live, and you can rewatch this recording afterwards. And I think we're ending this session now. See you all for our next webinar.
Thanks, everyone.